Yeah, I've got skills. What are you gonna do about it? Okay, in this video we're going to kind of go over some of the steps that it takes to get this Stonecoat countertop look with the epoxy resin with some metallic flake. We got the little kids over here doing their thing. We'll go over the edge, what we used. We'll go over the top surface, talk about kind of how we did that right now. We painted the base with black. And you'll see that in some of the photos, as well as we used a buttercream and mixed with the resin on the vein across the center, and then we kind of fogged on some black spray paint over top of it and ran some lines through it. When you do that, you'll get this kind of effect here. The buttercream line at first was a little lighter than we had wanted it to be, so we just slowly would fog black over it until we kind of toned it down to where we wanted to see it the best. You can see in this corner it looks pretty good. And as always, video photos don't ever really do it justice, but there is the metallic flake in there that sometimes you can and cannot see. Maybe if we go with that light, you can see it. Alright, so we'll go into it. Well, alright, if we got to this point in the video, that means everything turned out successfully. If it hadn't, you wouldn't be seeing this portion. But I wanted to kind of go over some of the stuff used to get us into this process, so I'll go through a few things now. Originally, we weren't too sure how to start this edge, so we kind of did a little bit of an experiment. We used Bondo to get this done. We've seen Bondo being used for a different kind of edge in itself, and we've seen this kind of crackled concrete or corally look with concrete. We went over concrete options. We actually bought a bunch of concrete mix, and it just didn't seem the most logical way to go. So we kind of ran an experiment with the Bondo and a sea sponge, and you'll kind of see how that turned out too. On the tops of these surfaces, we just sanded. We used TSP to degrease everything. Then we used a bonding agent. Kills has a bonding agent, but there are a couple other companies that have them. We can kind of, if I can get the can back, we can kind of talk more a little bit about that, but you'll see the products out there in the paint aisle for, you know, guaranteed bonding between surfaces, sometimes used on vinyl siding and stuff where paint will flake off. Put the bonding agent down just because we had the Formica underneath, and we want to guarantee a good bond. Last thing you want is everything to break away. Once we had the bonding agent put on, we just used basic semi-gloss black. I just rolled it on. De-nap your rollers, obviously you don't want to get any fuzz in there. But working through the products just a little bit here. So this is the Bondo we used. all-purpose putty Bondo. I'll have some photos that I'll add in this in a timeline, you know, as we progressed. But basically, you putty it on. You can only mix a little bit at a time. There's a lot in the can. The can could probably have done this whole thing. We kind of messed up on the first can. I mixed everything, and the hardener sets up in about 5 minutes. So you only want to mix about a 3x3 inch patch at a time. But you can see you just put it on, and we used a sea sponge to get this texture. It looks a little gnarly when you first do it, but once you sand it down, I mean, it's super smooth to the touch. You won't have to worry about the kids or anything. You won't have to worry about getting a run in your pantyhose or whatever you got going on. It looks real nice and it's real smooth to the touch. Once you're to this step, you're going to want to fog on some colors. So yes, black's a little intense, but it'll kind of drown its way out as we start to throw colors down. So these are the colors we're going to throw down. We want a little bit of sage green, a little bit of brown. We'll probably go a little bit more of the white and the silver, just to kind of bring out more of a stone look. You'll kind of see how the fogging process goes as we get through everything. Once we fog the base and we let this dry, that's when we'll go through with our 2-part epoxy resin. So you have an A and a B portion here. You'll go ahead and mix those together in mild portions. We're not just going to pour them both together, just because there's a setup time there. It's chemical reaction, and you don't want to get too deep, and then you got your stuff setting up on you, because I have all this countertop to go through, and then obviously I have this section over here as well. So we'll kind of do it in stages, mix up a little bit at a time, and go from there. The Stonecoat Countertop Company sells these base colors, but these base colors you can tint into the epoxy resin. It'll add well. I called the company. You cannot add just basic paint because it's a water oil kind of deal and they won't mix well. So we ordered this color of cream. We're going to mix in some of this cream with a little bit of resin and kind of do some like marbly veins in here, and you'll see that as we get through everything. Also, once you've fogged on your base color, this is just regular spray paint. You can use these same colors on top of the epoxy, and we're going to use these as well. So this is black. I'll probably do this on top of the cream just so it'll blend well with everything. And if I can talk my wife into it, we're going to go ahead and slap in some glow in the dark. It'll be invisible to the eye during the day, but obviously it just has that wow effect at night. Maybe run a strip of it through the vein that we'll put in, or maybe just fog a little bit on top of the resin and chop it in, and you'll understand some of these terms, fogging and chopping, as the video goes on. So on top of the resin, these are the metallic flakes that we bought. So we have clay, copper, brown, and black. I know you're probably thinking these are very similar, but a little bit different, and it'll stand out. It'll make it just look more natural. You know, Mother Nature doesn't just come up with one color all around the world, so having 3 different tones of the same color in there will actually accent well. So in each one of these spray bottles I have 12 ounces of isopropyl alcohol, which is the same you would use for earrings cleaner and stuff like that. So you can get it at your CVS. It's not anything intense. You don't want to use alcohol that you would use to clean your nail polish remover, or acetone. It's a little bit too intense, I believe. So we'll go ahead and mix up about a half a bag of each metallic into these. And what'll happen is once we get our resins going, we'll start a vein or two and everything, but then we'll start to spray on our metallics. So once the alcohol hits, it'll start to do like a separation, which I don't know if we'll be able to capture on video, but you'll see the final effect from when you first spray it down till when it actually is to the point of drying. You will see on this base coat there's a little bit of the countertop showing through still, and I'm not too worried about that because once we get into this fogging portion with these spray cans, you're not going to notice any of that. So that's that for now. Oh, and with these you can change the sprayer nozzle obviously to where we can stream it, so I can do like different copper just accent veins in here, because in Mother Nature and marble, you know, you always have those crack lines, fault lines, and veins. And I also changed this to a misting setting just to kind of haze out some mists of metallic. Hopefully everything turns out great. It's a good experiment. So if everything goes good, you know, feel free to let me know what you think, and I'll help you out with any questions you might have. But the Stonecoat Countertop Company has been great. They've answered my questions when I've called. They have every type of video you can think of. This edge was kind of experimental on my behalf, but I kind of talked about how I did that. It's a two-person job. You definitely don't want to do that one by yourself. They teach you everything from their videos, and you know, I've seen other companies that have these fancy, beautiful edge. But they never tell you how they do it, and you got to subscribe or pay like $800, and they'll teach you like an online course on how to do it. Well, don't do that. I'll take care of you. We'll get it all figured out. All right. So we'll see you on the next step. All right. So now we're going to start the fogging process. So first up to bat is the white. So we'll kind of just go over this. And these are just your basic spray paints. And this is just creating a fog effect or a haze. You can kind of do this in little patterns. And the trick is too, is you want to get some of this on the edge. So this is where it starts to look like it's an actual cut of marble or stone, because the colors run through. So let me just go through, and we're gonna go ahead and hit everything up. No precision to this. Again, anything precision or symmetrical is going to look unnatural. So you just want to go through, kind of get a bunch of that on there. And I got another counter over here, so you won't see that one in the screen. Alright, now obviously start off light. You can always add more of every color, but what you can't do is take off too much color. So then I'm going to go through with a little bit of sage green, and we kind of wanted to go with just earthy tones, natural, light colors. And these are just base colors again, so kind of setting yourself up for what's going to be at the end. In nature too, all your grains will all run the same way. So if you want to start to accent where you might put a big vein or crack in the stone, kind of start to highlight that a little bit, which is what I'm going to do. little trick for some of you guys, you know, maybe your spray tips get a little clogged up. If you turn the can upside down and spray the aerosol out, it blows the hole out, so you'll be good for next time. Alright, next up is just some brown. Get this mixed up. Alright, so the white kind of lightened us up a little bit, and then the brown and the sage kind of took us back dark again. So we're going to finish this up with, oh, that's the wrong one. Metallic aluminum. So we'll see how this goes. So this is the direction I want kind of my runs to go for the most part. Okay, so just to kind of show you what that looks like, we'll go through, kind of just take a look. So at this point, if you like the way it looks, then you just prepare for your resin surface. You can see kind of our greens and our browns. And again, this is going to be underneath the metallic, the coppers, the browns, the black, and everything else that we purchased. So this is kind of like the dimensional effect that's going to come through everything. If you don't like the way your spray paint turned out when you did your fogging, this is where you would take the opportunity to just maybe paint it again black and start over. So a little forgiveness gives you some time to actually stand back, look at it, and see what you think. We didn't want this to be that dark, so we're okay with this, and we'll probably move forward. All right. Alright, so here we are for the final stages. Jackie's hiding the camera. You might see her every now and again. So this is 2-part epoxy resin. Get this out of here. We're going to try to mix 2/3 of it to start. We're going to save a little bit, just maybe to mix some colors into.
What would you do if somebody said, "Oh, Heidi, you want to come home with me?" What would you say?
We got a full house. Kids are in the background, so you might hear them. About right. It's 1 to 1. So we just want to get ourselves there. Perfect. All right. So we'll go ahead and mix this up. Alright, so let's get started. So just a slightly notched trowel, move everything around. Kind of self-leveling, so it'll start to spread out. I just want to get it over to the edge where my beautiful assistant Jackie, aka my roommate, aka my babysitter / wife, and we're doing this for the first time, so everything's an experiment for us, so I might have to change a few things up as we go along. So is it thin over there? You think you need more to get that going? Don't need to push so hard, just to slightly drag it. If you hear the scraping sound, you're probably pushing a little too hard. Alright, so we'll move that around. I'll stop the video and kind of reconvene once we get the color. Alright, so we got the epoxy on now. So I'm going to take the first step here and start to get some of the bubbles out. So this will actually just come through and pop all the bubbles. And then it's self-leveling, so once the bubbles pop, the holes will fill in with the compound. Just want to make sure you get them all. Okay, so now we're going to start working on colors. So again, you only have 30 to 40 minutes between stuff starts setting up, so just got to get right to it. I'd said before we want our veins kind of going in this direction. That's the way they are in nature, they all follow the same pattern. And we just kind of want to give the effect that this is one giant piece. Being that this is our main vein, we're going to accent that at this point. So Jackie's going to come through and she's going to start to chop this into the mix. Make sure you prime your brush first, and I'll just do it dry. You can grab that to keep adding to it. Add more. Okay, and then you make sure you want to get some on the edge.
I'm going to grab a brush and jump in now. Got a lot of area to work with, so there'll be some time involved in all this.
reading everything every second of the day.
So now she's finishing over there. I'm gonna go ahead and start to throw in some browns. And I know you probably can't see too much of this because of the shimmer, but we'll go ahead and knock this off for a little bit until we get to the metallics. Alright, so now we got all of our base colors in and they're chopped in, so that was the chopping effect. So now we're going to start working on our main vein. I gotta stop saying that. So this is where we're going to run it in. Okay, and you can move it around. So now I'm going to take some black. The black one. All right, that's my video on the Stonecoat countertops. I think everything turned out pretty good. We'll probably end up doing a second layer of just clear coat on here. It'll lay flatter now that it's not mixed with paint. And as it gets abrasive over time and you polish it out, you don't want to be polishing the first coat because it actually has the color on it. So a second layer of just clear will thicken it up, and you can go from there. So, all right, I appreciate everybody for watching, and if you want to see other examples of this, go to the Stonecoat Countertop YouTube page, and they will have a ton of videos for you. All right, thanks.